couple people request information on how to keep your smoker going and how to get it started, what types of fuels to use. The most common ones are burlap, cotton starter, and pine needles. All of them work real well. The key to getting your smoker going is to get it started, get it hot first. The easiest way is to use a torch. A lot of people use charcoal starters, that type of thing, but I'll use a combination of all these, and usually I put the pine needles in first because they ignite the fastest, and even if they're damp, it doesn't matter. And then I'll put some of, I don't even know what this stuff's called. Fuel, starter fuel, and just get it started. Stick this in there, stick your torch in there, and really get it going. A lot of people don't get enough, I don't know if they're coals, but enough starter going for it to keep going. And leave your top off a little bit. Be careful if you're out in the field doing this with your top off, because a lot of sparks will come out and you don't want to start a forest fire.
Okay, one other important comment. Never use cedar chips. They are toxic. Cedar smoke is toxic to bees.
Cedar is toxic to bees. The oil in the cedar. You can use, I know some people that use pine cones, that type of thing. Just get it going first. Take your time. There's no hurry. And once you get a good base of coals going, then you can go ahead and every once in a while, if you're concentrating on your bees, go over and give it a couple puffs, and that'll keep it going.
And where does the burlap come in?
Burlap, there's a couple different ways you can start the burlap. I'll use just some pieces of burlap in conjunction with all this. That works good. If you just want to use burlap, the easiest way to do that is you'll take your burlap bag, cut it into strips, and then roll it up. And then you would start it here, like this. And then you would, in an empty smoker, you would stuff this, the lit end down, and that works real well also.
If you want burlap, east of Argonne on Trent is just this bag. You can go in and buy the scraps. What was our weight gain? Okay, this one went from 57 to 59. Not much.
This has got a lot of, oh, nice bottom box.
Just move a spot so we can put the frame.
Oh. Okay, this is the same box we filmed last week. And just looking down in here, we can see they've got brood down in here. We can see a few drone cells. Jim took the burr comb off the top so we don't hurt anything. And you can see, just looking down here, this is approximately 8 frames of bees. Just looking at it, but we'll pull a couple frames and see how full of bees they are. So again, we're gonna pull the outside frame. We have not marked that as a 20.
Oh yeah, we did.
Oh, we did, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll make it bigger.
And look at how nice that looks. So earlier we looked at a couple hives and we've seen some significant weight gains in a couple of them.
They're gone back and filled up.
Yep.
Filled up where she's.
So they're putting honey where it all hatched out on this outside frame.
Now when we put this frame back in,
Here, give it to me.
we'll turn it around
Yep.
when we put it in.
So you can see we got, you guys all talk about on Facebook, we see all the comments about queen cups. Well, they're a queen cup when they're empty, and that one is empty. This one has an egg right there in the bottom, and this one is empty. So we will mark this hive as CC, which is cut cell. Okay?
Any brood?
No. It's hatched out, but it's not going to be killed at all. There we go. So they've done a few drones up here, which they like to do, and you just kind of leave them alone. They like to have a few drones, and they got some down here. And remember, the drones are going to stick straight out from the frame. A queen cup or something like that normally tips down, so you don't need to worry about any of these. Okay, nice frame of brood.
Oh, this is larvae in here. She's come back and laid all back through here.
Now see, Jim's gonna come back and smoke them. Look how many bees moved up on the top, and it just makes it hard for us to work them, especially if we don't have gloves on. There's a gorgeous little drone here. Look at that. He's just a beauty. Okay, let's check this one. Dry. Don't see any more. Remember, its queen cell is going to be 16 days to hatch. So if you miss one, next week you get another chance to catch it, and it'll be much bigger and have a lot more in it. Now that's a pretty nice frame too. Let's see if we got eggs in there. Nope, not much. So if you look at this, you can tell the whole center is hatched out. You got all this over here, so here's where your queen's going to come back and lay. And if you look on the frame really carefully, you'll see all the fuzzy little bees like that walk around like they're drunk. Yep. You got a lot of hatch out going on.
Yeah, larva.
You got larvae on that side? Okay.
2.5.
We're gonna have a little drop or stay even with brood probably today. And remember, just use your smoker gently. Nice frame of brood. A lot of young bees on there. Remember, all those cap brood we saw last week are starting to hatch, and this will finish out hatching. We come in here next week, and if you look here, there's all these bees are eating their way out, so it's starting to hatch.
You notice also that they're coming back in, they're bringing so much nectar in, they're just coming back in and dumping it anywhere. So where they've emerged here, they're going in and dropping it off. They'll move it later and give her more room to lay in there. Oh, that's pretty.
That's a beautiful frame.
3.5.
Ooh, ugly. A nice looking queen cup, but there's nothing in it, so we're good there. You got eggs and larvae in there?
Yep, this is all eggs and larvae.
It's all cap brood or
4.5 frames of brood.
we've noticed looking at the hives, the outside frames are double deep in bees. But this one is all brood, so they're going to have a lot of protection against the wood. Look at that. So what side do you think we're going to find the queen on when we open the second box?
So 5.5 frames of brood so far.
We'll just leave that one just like that.
Let's go. Okay.
So we're going to step up here and look at the second box. And I'll take this off for Jim.
Check and see if the queen's on there.
Look at that, nice and clean.
Now you will notice that we saw a lot of fresh eggs at this end of the hive. There's a good chance that she's going to be in one of these 3 frames right here.
They're drawing it out. They're putting nectar in the bottom where it was drawn out. The heat is coming up, so they're drawing right close to where the bottom box is.
Starting to see a lot more pollen in this frame. That's a real good indicator that she's not too far away.
And there's lots of nectar in here. This is about probably 3/4 drawn out. They got a little bit to go. Here, let me get this.
It's all nectar.
All nectar. We had one earlier we took a peek at, and we saw that it was nectar also. A lot of nectar in the second box.
Or nectar.
No sign of El Queen.
She must be, we must have missed her down in the bottom.
Don't see any eggs. They put nectar on the bottom.
Nectar.
We missed the queen going
Missed
through
the
the
queen.
bottom. And now one of the things, you don't need to see the queen every time you inspect it. As you get a bigger and bigger bee population, it is going to be, there's no need to look at these last two because there's hardly any bees on them. We can see it from looking at them up above. So she's maintaining all of her brood downstairs. Now look at how the bees have come up and are covering the top of the frame. It's that kind of day where it's overcast and acting like it's going to rain a little bit, so they're doing their protective mode. And the outside frame here is just probably 2 to 3 bees deep, looking at it from up above. So let's pull that over. We're going to smoke them down a little bit, which will make them real happy. And Jim's going to move it over.
No, this one goes in.
Yep, we will, but it goes over there.
Oh.
Over here.
The interesting thing here is we saw everything we needed to see in a hive inspection other than the queen. And as long as we got eggs and young larvae, you don't worry about it. Remember, bad weather will cause a carnolin to stop laying. If she thinks that conditions aren't good for her, she will back off a little bit, and then it becomes very, very hard to find the eggs unless you're really good at seeing them. So don't ever be surprised. Italians tend to keep laying through bad weather. Carnolins will stop for a couple days and wait till the weather kind of catches up with them.
Look at how calm these guys are.
Yeah.
Remind us of where that frame that was just replaced in the second spot came from.
So it actually was right here
It was on the outside.
outside, so we moved it in and let them put the honey and stuff over here. Just keep looking at your frames and note what you're doing. Now, just so for technique wise, it is for rookies, it's not a wise idea for you to go through the top box with the bottom box sitting down below it. You want to separate them and work them separately, because you're going to find out that you could easily injure a queen or something not knowing where she is. So there'll be older beekeepers that'll just pull a frame and do a spot check. When you're using A-frame equipment, that's very easy because we've got lots of extra space. But one of the things that is important is look on anything before you shake it to make sure the queen isn't there. And
So how many frames of bees are you going to call this hive? 10?
11.
11?
Another thing to be aware of is after you're done examining your hive and you see a clump of bees on the ground, always go back and check that clump of bees, because The queen may have fallen out. She may have been on the inside of the inner cover and fallen out, and they will protect her. So they will get around her, and you always want to double check and make sure she's not on the ground and you walk away.
Now this hive was 5 frames of brood and 7 frames of bees last week. What did we just say it was?
5.5 frames of brood and 11 frames of bees.
So we had 4 frames of bees equivalent hatch out, and she's already built that all back up.
For most of you, working hives with new, undrawn out frames, your queen is likely to be in the bottom box. But always be alert, she can be anywhere.